2, 1, and we are live. Welcome, everyone. Welcome and joining us in another episode of Making Orlando a Better Place. This is the Pursuit Podcast. We have an excellent topic, and we have multiple guests today. My name's Ron, and we're also having Dr. Monica Isola from Pursuit joining us. But we have 2 special guests today, where we are talking to CycleBar Winter Park. Jessica Rankin will be joining us. She is also known as CycleStar Jess. She's a blessed mother, happy wife, fitness enthusiast, and lover of music, and she will be joining us. And then we also have Molly Halcomb. Is that pronounced correct? Halcomb. Yeah. She's a mother of 4, an avid runner. She's currently training for the Boston Marathon. Is that correct?
Yes.
Nice. And she works professionally in wealth management in a firm in Winter Park, and she's been an instructor at CycleBar Winter Park for multiple years. So Jessica and Molly, thank you for joining us and welcome to the Pursuit Podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
So today's topic of what we want to dive into is pretty much taking new moms and working out some of the problems and hardships that they're dealing with returning back to exercise. So whether it's you're a new mom, whether it's 3 months, whether it's 2 weeks, whether it's a year out, we want to try to have a good discussion today about maybe some pelvic floor health, maybe what are some things to look for towards when you are returning back to exercise, and then some of the programs and highlights of what CycleBar Winter Park has that a lot of our followers may or may not even know about, that there's lots of avenues, lots of fitness groups, lots of community outreach also that you guys are doing that we want to promote and spread the awareness. So you guys ready to make Orlando a better place?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, perfect. So the first question is, because there's a lot of people who don't know about pelvic floor options or pelvic floor health and stuff, and that there are people who specialize in this. So the first question for Monica is, as a new mother postpartum, what are some things to look out for when a new mom is trying to return to exercise? What should they be aware of that would allow them to understand maybe they do have a pelvic floor problem before they go into exercise?
Yeah, so this is it's such a great area. And this is actually exactly why I decided to specialize with postpartum moms. Because for me personally, after I had my son, I went to my 6-week appointment follow-up, and they didn't do an internal exam or anything. They're like, okay, you're good to go back to working out. And it's like, okay, and I'm a physical therapist. I should know probably more than the normal person, but it was still really confusing and just felt like, it's just such a gray period. And so something I think that's important for women to realize, well, first off is thinking, okay, how did you deliver this baby? So was it a vaginal birth? Was it C-section? With C-section, it's routine, but that's major abdominal surgery. If you're delivering vaginally, even if it was nice and easy, or if you labored for, days, there's pelvic floor trauma and tissue that's injured, that's stretched, that's weakened. So it's both of, these areas, just like any injury. So imagine you rolled your ankle and you had pain for a little bit and then you don't have any more pain, but then a couple days later you roll it again. So just because the pain's gone, so, for new moms, just because your pain's gone, it doesn't mean that everything is healed and is strong and is tight the way it was before. So you've got to rehab your pelvic floor and your deep core. So that really has to be it's that foundational first step. Before getting back into anything, we have to think about, rehabbing our injuries, which is basically what's happening. And then really starting into low level exercises first. So like cycling, it's a great exercise to do before jumping back into the high intensity exercise like running. So,
what are some kind of specific examples? Is incontinence normal to have after labor or SI joint pain? Just some brief examples of maybe it's not normal to have incontinence after, maybe you shouldn't have SI joint pain after labor and delivery.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we think about getting back into exercise, so again, really from 0 to 3 months, you want to stick to doing low level exercise before jumping into the higher level, which includes running. And that's what recent guidelines have really said, waiting 3 to 6 months before running. Now, I didn't do that, but still, I see how now how that really, there's a reason behind it. But before you get back into any kind of higher impact, and that's what I mean by higher intensity, but higher impact exercise, and I actually wrote them down so I wouldn't miss any, but just key signs that you want to be looking for that basically indicate any kind of pelvic floor or deep core dysfunction. It's going to be, so like you said, incontinence. So urinary or fecal leakage or incontinence. So after 6 weeks, you should not be having that. It's common, but it's not normal. So that's something that's telling me there's kind of some kind of pelvic floor dysfunction. Urinary or fecal urgency, a heaviness, pressure, bulging, just like dragging feeling in the pelvic area, pain with sex, constipation, abdominal separation, so that diastasis recti. And then the last one is any kind of musculoskeletal pain. So yeah, back pain, hip pain, a side joint, any of that stuff. Those are your red flags that really you need to get that stuff addressed before jumping back into, literally jumping and just getting back into like higher impact stuff.
Okay, perfect. And I just started following CycleStar Jess on Instagram and CycleStar Molly on Instagram. There you go. We're in a like pursuit therapy guy keeps on liking my posts and commenting. Anyway, so let's say the new mom's doing good. She's looking at possibly starting some exercise and they're looking around Orlando. So help describe what CycleBar is and what are some programs that you offer for moms. So this could be to Jessica or Molly, whoever wants to take this one. What exactly is CycleBar for people who don't know of you yet, and what are some programs and classes or routines that you guys have just for moms?
Sure. Okay, well, I've been there since we opened. We're approaching our 5th birthday, so
congrats.
I'm excited to share that. Yeah, thank you. We are a premier indoor cycle studio. So we specialize everything from, shorter rides to longer rides, up to a 75-minute ride, which is actually I'm teaching tomorrow. But we have, a little bit of something for everybody, and how it's different from just a different, maybe a cycle class that's offered at your gym or any other studio. We really focus on making it a full type of, from premium sound system to premium light systems. So you're kind of really in this theater moment where the rest of the world shut out. And we do everything. Some classes are focused heavily on a performance aspect where there's, races and competitions and for some people that really drives them. And some of that other classes, we strip that all away and we just really focus on the beat of the music, let the music drive the experience. And then a little bit of everything in between. So specifically for new moms, I think the great thing that we offer is so much variety with their instructors, variety with the class types. So it's not a one ride fits all type thing. You're going to come in there and maybe a 30-minute ride is going to be too short for you and you need more. And so we offer a ton of 45-minute type of classes. Some, again, performance driven, some not, the complete opposite. Some have choreography. Everything is rhythm based. So we ride to the beat of the music. Some classes are predominantly in the saddle where you're not out of the saddle. The RPMs or the cadence that we're riding to is a little bit slower. So that tends to help people either returning from injuries or brand new and trying to get their coordination down and all of that, because believe it or not, rhythm riding, and then you add choreography on top of it, and you add speed, and it's a lot. So kind of stripping all of that away, focusing on just really pushing power. So we have a variety of things, and I think what people find is they come in and they think this is for them, this specific type of instructor is for them, and this type of ride, and then they find that no, in fact, they enjoy doing a lot of different things. So you're able to cross train in a way too. You can do things that rides that focus on quicker paces, and then you can focus on really building that muscle and that strength and pushing heavier gear. So there's a little bit of everything for everybody.
Perfect. And congrats on year 5, by the way, because most people who don't know business is 90% of businesses don't make it to year 5. So congrats on that. I'm sorry,
thank
Molly.
you. I think during a pandemic on top of it. So
you can add in whatever you like, Molly, to that.
I was just going to say, in comparison to going to a gym that offers spin classes, we really like to give you a cycling, it's about the whole experience at CycleBar Winter Park. So as Jess said, this room, you walk into this room, the doors close, the lights go dark, and it's about this experience. The music is loud, and yet you still have all of this energy from the people around you. So as opposed to being at the gym and popping in for a little ride, you come for an experience. Like we give you cycling shoes and your towel and your water bottle, and you come and we're going to show you, we're going to try to strip away any nerves that people have about spinning. And maybe they walk in and are like, I've never done this before, I'm nervous. It is a judgment-free zone through and through. We just want you to come in and have this experience, because there's so much more to benefit from than just a 30-minute exercise class. We want you to get more out of it than just riding a bike.
That's perfect. And can we expand on the new patient experience or the new customer experience for that? If you have a new mom who wants to get back in exercise and they're interested in like CycleBar, what are the steps that they go through to make sure that they're taken care of and they're fit in the right class for them, whether they have no exercise experience or whether they just want to lose weight? Is there a process that you guys have welcoming new members and new moms on that kind of customize it for them, that fits them in, to make sure that they're not into the 75-minute hardcore ride, but maybe they start with the 30-minute ride? Is there a process for that?
Yeah, so my suggestion, depending, a lot of times our website's great, and people will just book their everyone's really tech savvy, so they just book themselves into something. But I think if you take the time to either come in prior to riding or give the studio a call, they're gonna really figure out what time of day, what class type. All of our classes, I don't think you have to specifically take a 30-minute to first start out. I think the normal 45 classic type ride, you come in, but all your instructors are going to encourage you to take it at your own pace. And that's where I think people come in and they want to with a lot of gusto, or maybe the opposite, and they're really nervous and they're overwhelmed and they just want to make sure they're doing everything the instructor says. And it's not about that. So, come in, we ask the new riders to come in, I believe it's 15 minutes early before a ride. Our front desk staff, they're amazing. They really take care of the experience for the new rider, or in this case, the new mother. And they're going to take the time to talk to you and talk about what you're looking to get out of this. What are your fitness goals? How many times do you realistically see yourself riding? What are your likes, dislikes, so they can try to match you with the right instructor, or maybe the class type, etc. And then you come in and we get you fitted for your shoes. We have lockers set up. We kind of walk you through everything. When the doors open, you're first in, and you kind of get the rundown on how the bike works, how the monitor works, and all of that. And then the instructor comes over, making sure that you feel comfortable. And I'd say it to every new rider, have a good time. This is your first time. Just take it all in. Let the experience engulf you, and just appreciate that. Appreciate the fact that you actually just showed up. And so that's a win in itself. And then, you know, we go from there. And after the ride is over, we always check in to see how they liked it, if they had any questions, because it can be overwhelming. There's a lot of things happening, a lot of instruction. And then we make sure, you know, how we can best hopefully see you again, and start the experience where you can start to get some benefit out of riding regularly.
Yeah. And it's a monthly membership?
They have all kinds of different packages. Anything from an unlimited monthly ride, or you can ride 4 times a month or 8 times a month, or, you know, they also do class packs as well. So there's something that everyone can make work for them.
One thing I'll just add that we tell all new riders, and just like Jess said, I love to talk to new riders before class starts. And, you know, we of course like to get an idea of, have you ridden before? Do you know how the monitor, you know, is this your first time looking at the monitor or working with the gear? But all of that aside, your number one goal in your first class is to have a good time. And we say every time we teach, if it doesn't feel good to you, don't do it. And you'll notice in a class, there are all different types, shapes, sizes of people that take the class at their own pace. So I always tell new riders that you will notice that I might be out of the saddle. Somebody else might be in the saddle. She might be. You take it at your own pace, you do what feels good to you, and there are options for days. And so I think I always say those things because I want new riders to feel like, I know what it's like to come in and be nervous and, oh my gosh, am I going to be able to keep up? And I want new riders to know you don't have to keep up. You just do your best, and you are part of this family that we're all trying to do the same thing. So no pressure. I know the nerves are usually there with new riders, but I hope they quickly fade away.
Yeah. And you used a really nice word there, family. So that was good. Yeah. Everyone's a part of the family working together and stuff. So is there any type of tips or modifications for new moms that you guys see a lot of, or that you make adjustments for any new moms who may be starting out or like just returning back to exercise? Is there any modifications with the training, the workload, the bike setup that you guys frequently see for new moms?
Yeah, I think, you know, first we always ask if you've had any prior injuries, anything that's currently bothering you. We want to make sure you're safe. That's our number one goal. Having fun, but safely having fun. We don't want anyone to injure themselves. So with the bike setup, we make sure that you're not hyperextending your legs, you know, your shoulders, you've got the correct posture, no tension and anything like that. So we take the time to modify the bike to fit your specific needs. And then during the ride, again, everyone needs to know to take the options when they need to take the options. You know your body, and it doesn't matter if it's your first ride or your 500th ride and you're having, you know, you're overly tired that day or whatever the case. You know your body and you have to listen to it. So if you stayed seated the entire time in the ride, that's okay. If you skipped out on intervals, we're a heavily based interval experience as well. So they have, you know to skip a few intervals, that's okay. Eliminate choreography. So I think it's the goal is to come in and the first few rides, just taking it all in, getting acquainted with how we cue intervals, how we cue choreography, what, you know, on some of the rides, we will give out where your RPMs need to be. I say a lot of times I sound like a bingo person. We're like 65, 82, you know, whatever. So you're hearing all of these things where you're gearing, add to, take away, whatever. So getting comfortable with the lingo, getting comfortable with the flow of the ride, feeling comfortable getting out of the saddle to try other things, and then thinking, okay, well, that was great. I'm going to sit back down. That was enough. that's okay, you know? So really being gentle with yourself, listening to how your body responds. And then questions, please. We love when, you know, we always ask, but there's a little bit of sometimes an intimidation factor, just getting to know the instructor as well. But please approach us and please let us know how you felt. And if something didn't feel right, we want to address it right away. And then, you know, the experience in the actual theater where you're taking your ride is one part, but as you come out of the theater, you'll notice everyone starts to mingle a little bit, and there's a big sense of we really drive home the community in our first CycleBar Winter Park. So getting to know, smiling at one another, asking questions for the other riders. Our riders are amazing, and they are so helpful, and they want to help you, and they want to make sure that you feel comfortable as well, because everyone that shows up to ride in that specific ride, they contribute to the energy of that ride. And so that just makes everybody level up, and it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, everyone there was super nice. I came to your grand opening whenever you guys initially opened, so staff and everyone was there, was nice. The atmosphere was awesome and stuff, so that was great. Anything else that you want to add in, Molly, regarding like tips and modifications?
Well, as Jess said, you know, we're always going to tell riders to take it at their own pace and modify as needed. And I think I just really love to stress to new riders to not feel embarrassed, because if you just look around, you'll see everyone in the room modifies at some point or another. So to never shy away from listening to your body and doing what feels good to you.
Perfect, good. And okay, Monica, so say we have a mom that's not aware of pelvic floor dysfunction and they started to get into exercise. What are some signs and symptoms that they can be aware of to know maybe I do have a pelvic floor problem? What are some signs and symptoms to pay attention to and look out for with new moms who are returning to exercise? What should they be looking out for and being aware of?
Yeah, so kind of definitely if you're noticing leaking. So incontinence is a big thing, and it's also a thing we don't like to talk about. And let alone, I mean, even woman to woman, it's hard to talk about. It's hard to bring up to our doctors. So again, I can't stress enough, like incontinence or urinary leaking, it's common, but it's not normal. So I think we've kind of, you know, like, oh, like you had a baby or two, like that's just a part of it. Well, there's things you can do. There's treatment that you can do to help with that. So, so if you're noticing anything increasing with that, and then if you're noticing back pain, that's definitely can be symptoms of like a weak core, weak abs, weak pelvic floor. And then just any increase in pain, you know, pelvic pain, that you notice that maybe it returns back when you're starting to exercise. Hip pain too. There's a lot of trauma that goes on with our deep hip muscles. And even there's a statistic showing just labral tears can happen with birth. So just paying attention to new pains. I mean, in general, if you're having pain with something and it's not getting worse and it's been 2 weeks, get it checked out, because by that point, it probably won't settle, you know, just, you know, settle its way out. And the quicker that you address pain or any kind of injury, the quicker it goes away. So try to tell people that, like, the quicker you get seen, the quicker I can, if you got your back pain yesterday and you come to me today, you'll be good in like 2 days. I mean, you know, but I mean, the quicker that you can get certain things addressed, the better. So I mean, just don't pass things off as being part of, you know, postpartum. If something's not right, you know, really try to get it checked out, because the last thing you want is to run into something that's going to make you have to stop exercising and working out for months because you're having to, you know, rehab something that's gotten more serious.
That's a great point, because we see a lot of complex cases here too. And one of the points is, and most patients don't learn about this until after their patient's here, but if something new pops up or they're having a symptom that's not going away, the sooner they take care of that, the easier it is to fix and the faster you'll be back to cycling, exercising, and stuff like that. So most patients, after they come here, they realize it. And when something new pops up, they'll come right in, get fixed fast, and be done. And a general rule is we always tell patients is if you try a treatment or you're doing something and it's not changing in 2 weeks, I'd move on to something else. You should know in a matter of 2 weeks whether your treatment or your self-treatments are doing anything. So it should be getting better in as fast as 2 weeks. So those are two guidelines there. So here's another question for Jess and Molly. So when a new mom has achieved decent strength, like she's increasing her classes, she's, pushing herself harder, are there any advanced or what type of advanced programs or advanced classes do you offer? And is Molly using this as part of her circuit training for the Boston Marathon? Is she cycling and running at the same time?
I am.
Oh, look at that.
I
That's
am.
impressive. Is there any
'Cause
hills
I
up
have,
there? Is there any hills that you have to get ready for? Because
oh my
doing
gosh,
doing
the hills
cycling would
are
be awesome for
huge.
hills. We don't
Exactly.
have hills
And
down here.
I learned after I had children that I can't maintain a marathon. I've run marathons for many years and I can't train like I used to when I was younger, and my body has changed. And so where I used to run a lot of miles, I can't run as many miles anymore without getting injured. So I started riding at CycleBar Winter Park when they opened because I was having a running injury. And I learned how to incorporate spinning into marathon training. And I get this, I think I'm even better trained now because it's just a great form of cross training.
You said something really good there too, right there is
Yeah.
cycling is a great modification. If you're dealing with a running injury and you still want to train, you try cycling. I always try to get them on the bike so they don't lose any cardiovascular stuff. They don't have to just sit around and rest as they're rehabbing. Cycling is a great alternative if you're dealing with a running injury. I'm sorry, I interrupted.
No, I agree completely. And I actually tell people all the time that that's why I started cycling, because it was the one activity that I found that gave me the same feeling as running, the same, like I was working so hard, and that feeling that I strive for when I run, I can find in cycling as well. But just to start answering your question, we do have, as Jess mentioned, we have the performance format ride as well as endurance rides. And so just to go along with how we said, we want you to take every class at your own pace. That means that when you're ready to step it up, we invite you to do that as well. So we're guides, we're on the stage guiding you to add 2 gears, add 3 gears, but we'll tell you if you want more, let's do more. And so a performance class maybe uses more statistics or more races, more challenges. And if you're ready for it, then we've got a ride that can answer that for you. The same with, as Jess mentioned, the endurance. She has an endurance ride tomorrow. That's 75 minutes. That's no joke. And so we also tell people, if you haven't tried, if you've been riding for years, you should do an endurance ride. If you just want to give it a try because you're curious, give it a try. Whatever you're ready for, we're gonna find it for you and we're gonna make it work for you.
I want to try a 75-minute endurance ride.
Tomorrow, 9:30.
9:30.
Come on, Ron.
I have patients scheduled, but I have to book out a week from now.
Yeah, it's really exciting to see people as an instructor. It is so inspiring to see someone come in unsure, intimidated, or maybe quiet, or whatever. Maybe they've ridden before and they come in and they ride the first ride, and then little by little they find their own rhythm, and they start riding a little bit more, and then start riding a little bit more, and then they're riding every day, and then they're riding their first double, and then they're just trying a 60-minute ride or a 70, they're just trying. And then they're doing, we typically will host them both in the same week, sometimes the same day, but and then they're doing both of them. So I think the coolest thing that happens is, people originally usually find themselves at a fitness studio, CycleBar Winter Park, for a tangible goal. They want to get back into shape, or they have an upcoming vacation, or they've been noticing that their energy levels aren't what it used to be, or whatever the case. And then as they let themselves naturally grow, they start to find that the benefits physically are there, but what happens to you mentally is your whole perspective shifts. The way you view yourself in the mirror completely changes, and it doesn't have to do with a number on a scale. Originally that's probably what it starts with, but then it's like, it doesn't matter. You do this because you feel so good after the fact, and how proud. I mean, you can't put a price tag on being proud of yourself for doing something you thought you couldn't do. So to do a 75-minute ride, that for some people, that's their marathon. I mean, I don't ride marathons, and that's a marathon to me. You look down at the miles that you rode, 20 plus miles, it's on our monitors. They track how far you're going. So it's like, wow, and it's just really inspiring to see people start off and then find this newfound confidence and physical strength and body transformation. But what's the best part about it is just their mental fortitude and how they carry themselves, and they walk a little taller and happier from it. So, and they know that they're doing something for themselves. And I say all the time, self-care is not selfish. So to take that time to really invest in themselves and to see themselves grow, I mean, the sky's the limit. So it's awesome. It really is. So any of our rides, to bring it back to your actual question, any of our rides can be next level as you grow as a rider, as you can hold the rhythm at a heavier gear and nail all the choreography and, compete in these performance rides and maybe grow your overall power points. There's a scale, if you will, as far as earning points based on your power performance, and people try to beat their last time that they did, or maybe the miles road or whatever. So there's always something to get better at.
Perfect.
We also have, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you can go.
I was just going to say, we also have, for moms that are like ready to like dive in, we have from time to time challenges. And sometimes we did an Olympic challenge that honestly, when we put it out there, I was like, this is crazy. I don't know who's going to be able to ride this many rides over 16 days. This is ridiculous. And you know how many people, like how many women, mostly women, not just women, but that's the one thing I will tell moms is you're surrounded by a lot of women at CycleBar Winter Park. But so many people were like, I'm up for the challenge. I'm going to win the gold medal and ride 42 rides, and the feeling, the atmosphere around the studio during that challenge where everybody was just like, I'm going for it. That to me is like, for somebody who's ready for, to really like dive in, they're back to shape and they're ready to just try something that blows their mind. Sometimes we'll offer a challenge that will really just make you go, I can't believe I just did that.
In October, we have one coming up.
Yep.
Nice. Yeah. As you said earlier, it's very rewarding and gratifying to see someone push through an obstacle and a hardship, and you see the progress as the instructors or as the therapist. We see the same thing when any business, like they start out here and they work their way up and now they're here, and seeing that transformation and changing someone's life is so rewarding and gratifying. So let's talk about community outreach. I think one of the silver linings of COVID, I think, is what we all are learning is the value of human relationships, and how, it's since we were denied that for months and months at a time and stuff, we, pretty much value the importance of having relationships and being around other people. And I think us as a company, Pursuit, we've really tried over the last year or two to give back to Orlando, to donate proceeds of profits, to establish good relationships around the local community, keep the podcast going, to keep things going throughout COVID, and always trying to give back to the community. What are some ways that CycleBar gives back to the community or is involved in the local community around the Orlando, Winter Park area?
Okay, so I mean, over the 5 years, we've done everything. We host charity rides. If there's a rider that there's something that is near and dear to their heart or they're involved in, we obviously do things at the studio for that. We also do, somebody will bring their business in for a team building exercise. Birthday parties, bachelorette parties, any type of community group thing, we'll host private rides for them as well. So from business side to personal side.
Great ideas.
Yeah, and so then I don't know if I was invited to a bachelorette party and they said, okay, at 7 a.m. we're going to a 45-minute cycle class. I don't know how, or a birthday party, but no, it's really cool. It's fun to see. So we do that. We also are huge in our community as well. The challenging thing when COVID hit was a lot of those community events went away. And so it was finding ways to still stay involved with safely. And now that things are kind of opening up and there's more community events as well, you'll see us around town a lot more too. So any of these pop-up events around town, we're always out there trying to shake hands and get to know you and let you know about the studio. But from a day-to-day aspect, we are constantly making connections at the studio. We have a lot of fun things happening, from theme rides to little socials. Every Wednesday we have a Wind Down Wednesday rides, and then we actually host other businesses to come in as well, to meet our riders and tell about their business locally. We have Sunday brunch, all kinds of, and then quarterly we usually have a big event that we meet at a local business, whether it's a happy hour or a brunch. Nice. Or whatever. So we try to really make connections within the studio as well. That's the beautiful thing about group fitness. Group fitness, it can be very motivating. Everyone knows at the studio, I also ride quite a bit, and I am not a morning person. But the second you walk in, it doesn't matter what time of day it is or what day it is. You see somebody that you are familiar with and you strike up a conversation, and then you're working hard together, and afterwards, you got those endorphins pumping, and then you're talking after that, and it makes it so much more than just going to work out on your own. And for some people that's great, but people like us need group fitness to make those connections. What else am I missing, Molly?
Well, just to add on to what you just said, Jess, that's it. Exactly. And I would really stress to new moms who maybe need a little escape, or, they need to go talk to people. You'll find we truly are a family at CycleBar Winter Park, and you'll catch Jess and I with a microphone on giving TMI, so please, we would tell anybody. I hope that people come into our studio and feel like Monica, you said moms might have issues that are hard to talk about. I bet you we've covered them, maybe with a microphone on our face.
I love it.
We are open to anything and everything. And I feel like we do get that. You're surrounded by other moms that are looking for the same little fitness goals. Yes. Mental goals, huge. That's what we're all there. We're all there for that. And so I think, to our community, to our new moms, we offer just a family, an escape, conversation, a chance to just connect with other other people, other new moms that they might not have if they're just jumping on a bike at home.
We have the coolest thing is too is we'll have riders that ride during their pregnancy, and so they ride up as long as they can and they feel up to it, and then they we don't see them for some time as they have the baby and they're getting acclimated and all of that, and then to see them come back in and they're so like, oh, I'm back, thank God, and they know what they're experiencing is just so wonderful and new, but it's also exhausting, and a lot of you don't really have free time, and you're brand new at it and it's overwhelming, and you kind of want to get back to normal and get back on routines and stuff. So I had a rider last night, and the baby's now 3 months old, and she's trying to get back into that routine, and she's just so excited for just that little break, that mental time where it's just about her, to think about things or to think about nothing and just be around other adults and not have to tend to a baby for just 45 minutes, and that's okay. And I think you had touched on before the call about mom guilt a little bit. So yeah. Letting go of that mom guilt, like take some damn time for yourself to feel good. So you can in turn, once your cup is full, then you can give to others.
So this is interesting. Monica and I had a good conversation before this, and we have some time. So let's talk about mom guilt. And I think you also said this too, when my wife was a new mom, she would always tell me she felt like she was imprisoned at home. And we were also talking about this too. It's like, why do moms feel guilty? I was like, I don't understand why moms feel guilty. It's like, but I see it. I'm aware of it. I don't know why though, because it's like, my wife's a stay-at-home mom right now. She dabbles in a little bit of real estate on the side, but she's primarily a stay-at-home mom. And she'll say things like, I feel pressure, like I have to get dinner done, or I feel pressure, I have to clean. I'm like, I don't want you to feel pressure. I want you, if you don't want to clean, let's hire someone to go do that. I don't want you to feel obligated that you have to cook dinner for me. Like, even if I get home, I can make a chicken breast or some rice by myself. That's fine. It's like, I don't want that pressure. I see the mom guilt pressure. But let's talk about mom guilt and why do moms feel this guilt? Mana, you can get started, and then we'll go around and see what others have to say also, because we had a conversation about this earlier. I was like, I see mom guilt. I don't know why it happens. So
yeah, and it's just been through generations of feeling like we, the women, need to be the ones to stay at home, to take care of the home, take care of the children. So I think now we're finally at this place where, it's more acceptable, the women can go back to work, but we still just have this innate feeling at times of feeling bad about it. Or I know for me, if I'm done with my patients early, I feel like, oh, well, I should be back at home with the kids. It would be terrible if I went and, got a pedicure or something, even though that would make me feel so great. So it's just, it's something that I think it comes in waves. But it is there as much as we know it should, we shouldn't feel guilty, because I know I'm a better mom, and that's really what matters. What makes you a better mom? I'm a better mom when I can work and do things that I'm passionate about, when I can work out. Those are really the biggest things that I need. And even if it's a little bit of it, I am so much more present and patient with my children than when I'm just like with them, but I'm like, oh, I really need to do this. I want to do that. And it does. I've seen it actually in the last couple of days, how it really does play a role. The other day, I was just really not patient with my children the way that I normally am. And it's because I had so many other things that I just needed to get done, and that mental clutter. So I just know I've gotten more comfortable with knowing I need to also do what's best to make me a better mom, but it's still hard. We still have hard days. So.
Yeah, you know, don't get me on a soapbox. I mean, this is one of my, it's just society, and then and generationally, and then, hormones are a big part of it, and the whole pregnancy stage, and then afterwards, you love your child, but you feel probably a million different things from being judged or not supported, or whatever the case, if your child is not your world. And I talk very strongly about this, that you are a woman, and you are also a mother. You don't have, just because you're a mother now, you have to get rid of all the other things that make you. You're your own person as well. So, it's not selfish to take some time to do things that make you happy, because in turn, if you're happy, you're going to have a happier home. You are going to be more patient. You are going to, let stuff roll off, because I'm telling you what, my friend who is not a mother said to me, she's like, you must grow patience when you become a parent, because you were never this patient prior. And you've got it right. I also work out a lot. So you need that sweat, you need that little time. And you know what? Sometimes when things are not going great, thank God for nighttime classes too. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to be back in an hour. My mom's got to go. And my daughter she's almost 7 now. So she's about 18 months or so when I started working with CycleBar. And it was the first time I would put her in, a mom's day out program over here. I live in College Park. And so I remember I knew I wanted to do it. I knew I needed some time, but I also felt so guilty doing it. And so luckily, one of the instructors at the time referred me where her kids went. And so for my daughter, who's now almost 7, she just knows this is what mom does. Mom always is going to take some time for herself to go teach her classes or take classes. A lot of times too, we do a great job of figuring out how to fit it in too. So I get up a lot earlier than I want to sometimes, or get everything done and go later when I want to just be done for the day. But I know even like having to rearrange my schedule, which may not be as convenient, I'm better because of it, and knowing that. So got to sweat it out. Got to.
Sweat magic. That's what we call it.
Sweat
I'm
magic.
sure it must be so frustrating for husbands, because my husband also was like, why do you feel this pressure? Why do you feel pressure to have to make dinner, or pressure to have? He says all the time, like, who's putting that pressure on you? Like, we put it on ourselves. I can't explain why we do. And, it's just something that we do we expect ourselves to do it all, and to do it all perfectly. And I think the thing that helps me the most is to be surrounded by other mothers, other women that are like, yeah, I feel that too. And I don't know why. And I didn't get my house cleaned, but it's okay. And then I think I've been a working mom since all of my children were babies. I took a 3-month maternity leave and went right back to work. And I felt the mom guilt never gets easier. It's always there. It's just kind of figuring out how to manage it. And I feel like going to a place where you can be with other moms and do something that's like physically and mentally good for yourself, that's a huge help in dealing with the mom guilt.
My next question is going to be, man, am I subconsciously adding the mom guilt? Like, is it a lack of teamwork or a lack of listening skills or communication? Am I adding the mom guilt? I was like, what am I doing?
I think the best thing husbands can do, the best thing is to say, don't feel guilty about it. Go do something for yourself. Go get a pedicure.
Yeah, that's
go
what
to
I
an
say.
evening spin class, whatever. That's
because
you can't cure the mom guilt. You can't do it. No husband can do it, but you can encourage.
Yeah, perfect. So as we round up a little bit and kind of finish this up, first, I just want to thank you guys all for joining us today. And I think we have some good conversation, definitely to help out some new moms out there. But you're not going to get off that quick. You have to answer the Fab 5 questions. So Molly and Jessica, are you ready?
I don't know. Let's do it.
So what book are you reading right now?
I'm reading the Outlander series.
The Outlander series?
Mhm.
And I am reading, wait for it.
Mom guilt, something. Mom guilt.
How to do the work.
Oh, nice. There you go.
Yeah.
Very good.
Oh, I'm gonna have to
Creating
look.
your best self, you know.
Good.
Where do you think I get my material for classes? No.
Yeah. You can, I feel like in life, you can never stop with personal growth books, mentality books, because you'll always run into hardships, and it's just reading again to get over another hardship and maintain good mental and physical health is essential. So that's great. Second question, what is your favorite restaurant in Orlando?
Ooh, good question. Okay, I got mine.
Go ahead, Jess.
I've got a lot because indecisive, but first one that I frequent, Agave Azul, and
It's really good.
That's mine too. I
Nice.
go to the one in Winter Springs usually, but yeah.
Very nice. We have a unofficial favorite restaurant poll here at Pursuit Physical Therapy, and currently Hillstone is in the top 3. Enzo's On the Water is number 2, and the new up and comer who tapped into the top 3 is Kabuki Sushi. So right now those are the top 3 right now that are in the top 3 unofficial Pursuit poll. So next question, are you doing anything new or different in order to stay healthy right now?
I started regularly taking CBD supplements for pre and post workout
Nice.
aid for, you know, CBD is great with inflammation.
Mm-hmm.
I like to say I like to dabble in it with anxiety as well. So it's a great natural way to kind of help me out with that, or kind of wind me down at the end of the day, because I'm constantly kind of going. So yeah, Indica Dreams CBD products is what I like.
Nice. And Molly?
I won't say this is new, but I have just I'm trying to get back into weight training because I feel like it helps with injury prevention.
That's great.
It's something I will do, and then I get away from it if I'm heavy into training, and then I always try to remind myself to get back into it.
Yeah, with my runners, I try to tell them to still stay with 1 day of weight training a week as you're training for your race, because running itself, you're going to lose a lot of the muscle hypertrophy and a lot of the strength, and you'll predispose yourself to possible injury. And runners never train laterally, so they always have weak lateral hips. So definitely adding straight training with that. And Monica specializes in that too. She is a runner, and she also treats a lot of runners. So weight training, she'd probably agree with me on that, is essential for runners, even though you don't think about it.
And I'm a runner as well, so like I know it's not like it's just so easy to go run or cycle, and it's fun. So it's harder to get
yes.
Yeah. Okay. Next question: how many hours of sleep do you get a night?
I'm happy if I can get 6 hours. That's a really good night.
I need like 7 to 9, but like last night I think I got 5.
Yeah.
Because I woke up early to get a workout in.
That's good. Nice.
Why.
I'm a 6 to 8. I'm a 6 to 8. As long as I get 6 in, I'm good. 8's really good, especially if I'm training hard. I woke up I'm a morning person. I woke up at 4:30 today just so I could start reading. But how about you, Monica? You also have a newborn too, so it's going to be variable right now.
Something new that I've been doing is because she's now 1, so I'm finally able to get back to the waking up early part, because that's when I can actually get like all this stuff that I want to do done uninterrupted. So finally she's a year out and I'm like getting normal sleep. So actually this past week I got back to waking up the 5:30, 5:45. So it's nothing crazy compared to
Oh,
4:30.
it's crazy. That's crazy to me.
But I mean, it's made my days so much better because again, it was that wake up call of like having absolutely no patience with my kids where I normally do. So I'm like, I've got to get my stuff done before they're up, or else I'm just going to be counting the time for them to, be taking a nap or whatever it is, so I can get my stuff done. So it's just been a game changer, and I'm glad I can get back there.
Good, very good. Last question. What is one problem in healthcare that you want to see solved? There's many problems probably, but what's one that you want to see that's solved? You're like, we haven't been in healthcare that much, so, but.
Yeah, I think we're trending in a way where, mental health for me is really, it's such, I mean, honestly, the main component, because mental health usually drives a lot of the other things physically and so on and so forth. So now that has become a conversation, and every year I feel like that conversation gets stronger, and then companies that you work for are reimbursing for their employees to invest into themselves, whether it's through therapy or working out or whatever the case, to do that. So I'm happy that is mental health is becoming on the forefront of the way medical professionals treat things as well, and then also society is now accepting it and making it and pushing for it to be a priority for everyone in the community.
I agree with, I would like to see improvements in mental health, particularly for children, because I've dealt with this recently with one of my children. It's either very, very expensive or very hard to even get an appointment with a therapist, with a psychiatrist. It's I have at times felt truly helpless in trying to get one of my children mental health, and that's been very frustrating. So the cost,
I agree.
The ability it baffles me.
Yeah, the cost needs,
the cost of healthcare in general needs to go down. That's one of the major problems, but I totally agree. Mental health awareness is becoming more and more prominent, and they're realizing that's one of the underlying root causes to many problems that lead to this stuff. So promoting it, making it more affordable, because in general medicine, there's no funding for it. So most of the people who do want to specialize it and do want to help people end up going private pay, and the rates are higher sometimes with that, but it is very interesting on the concept of mental health and being aware of it, who's the best to treat it, and getting options that someone who can actually handle this. So, but perfect. Those are the Fab 5 questions. First, again, I just want to thank you for joining us today. Thank you for taking time out of your day. And I think we got some good conversation here that we'll share with everyone around Orlando. If anyone wants to try to find either of you, how does someone find you?
Yeah, so on Instagram, CycleStar Jess. I know Molly's CycleStar Molly H.
And the website?
Yeah, we are listed on the website as well. But I think if you want to have the most accurate day-to-day, or even get to know us more, sometimes we find that the writers, they kind of get to know us on social, and then they feel like they know us when they meet us in real life. So that gets the conversation and the comfortability there. So Instagram's a great way. You can message us on there as well.
Perfect. We'll put the links to you, the website. Maybe if you have an events page, we'll put the links in the video below us and stuff like that. And again, thanks for taking time out and making Orlando a better place.
Thank you.
So, thank you so much.
You're very welcome, and we'll see everyone later.